Here's what I don't understand about the NCAA and their stance on college football and the college football playoff. The NCAA is the same organization that has a 2-week tournament for college basketball that runs through the second half of March into the beginning of April, which is one of the biggest, most popular sporting events in the entire country. People who don't give a shit about basketball or sports one way or another will still fill out an office bracket. They get so much right with the NCAA tournament, with March Madness. And yet the same organization just continues to drag their feet in utter and complete stupidity when it comes to the college football side of the house. For every bit as greedy and grimy and greasy and fucking unethical as the NCAA is on so many different levels, I think the South Park episode says it all. Student athletes, oh, that's a good one. I mean, that described the NCAA a few years ago perfectly, didn't it? For as money-grubbing as that fucking organization is, I've never understood why they've dragged their feet so damn much about expanding the college football playoff. It's like a woman, where everybody around the woman tells them that this guy's no good. He fucking sucks and da-da-da. And she goes, oh, he loved me. And she digs in her fucking stiletto heels even more, because instead of opening her eyes, she's just got to be right and prove everybody fucking wrong. And all the while, all she does is make herself look like a bigger moron. That's what the NCAA has done with this college football playoff. Up until the late 90s, or whatever the hell it was, you had no playoff whatsoever. We're just going to vote and have polls decide who the national champion is. Who fucking thinks that's smart? And then you got to the BCS, the bull crap system. And we're going to choose 2 teams to square off in the national championship game. Like, everything about this is dragging and kicking and screaming. And then eventually they expanded whoopee to the 4-team playoff. And for years you've had advocates like myself for expanding the playoffs. 6 teams, 8 teams, 12 teams, 16 teams. Anything except 4. Because 4 is fucking stupid. Especially when you look at the fact that, at least as of now, not much longer, you had 5 conferences. Your Power 5 conferences. That no matter what, you have a playoff system that if all 5 of those conference champions win undefeated, one of them wouldn't be in your playoffs at the end of the year. How fucking stupid is that? No other North American sport would ever dream of doing some stupid shit like that. Every division winner gets into the playoffs in these different sports, whether they frankly really need to be there or not. And then you've got wild cards and everything else, but not fucking college football. You've got Power 5, so 5 major conferences, 4 slots, because the NCAA is run by a bunch of morons. Like, you would think if nothing else, the dollar signs on their fucking heads, they would have figured this out a long time ago. You're finally going to get to an expanded playoff, but of course, it doesn't come soon enough if you're Florida State. Now, mind you, I look at this and say, this is somewhat karma for the joke-ass, fuck-ass 93 national championship they got that they didn't fucking deserve. How the fuck did they sit there and lose to Notre Dame? I don't care about the circumstances. I don't care that it was in South Bend. They lost to Notre Dame. Yes, Notre Dame lost the next week on their last-second field goal to Boston College. But the fact of the matter is, they were both one-loss teams, and Notre Dame beat Florida State, but somehow, someway, the media just had to fucking give Bobby Bowden a joke national championship. So part of my villain story, my villain arc, says, fuck Florida State, they got what they deserved. But I'm an older, wiser, less bitter, less grudge-holding man. I don't know about that. But Florida State got fucked. Period. Now, I was sitting there Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, and going back and forth with folks, and there were a lot of people talking about, well, Texas beat Alabama. They can't put Alabama in over Texas. To which I said, there is no fucking way, and I mean no fucking way, that the selection committee is going to leave out the SEC champion. Otherwise, they're going to risk Alabama and Georgia wanting to SEC from the college football playoff. See what I did there? Ain't no fucking way. The college football playoff for a long time has been a de facto Alabama invitational. No matter what, they will find a way, if at all possible or reasonable or doable, to force Alabama into the fucking playoff. We've seen this time and again, period. Alabama wins the conference championship game. Sucks for Georgia to go undefeated, two-time defending champs, but they weren't conference champions. And based off the fact you only got 4 slots, fuck anybody making it to the playoffs, not winning their conference championship. If we only reserve that for Alabama. But of course Alabama was going to get fucking in. That wasn't a surprise. And I love how the committee tried to play this off. Like Boo Corrigan and others. I see right through your fucking bullshit. No, you sat there and had to make your decision between Texas and fucking Florida State. You were never going to put Alabama or the SEC at risk. They had a slot, period. You could have a 2-loss SEC team win the conference championship. They're getting into this motherfucker. We all know this. And this is the byproduct of a stupid-ass playoff system. So Texas gets in, fine. But here's undefeated Florida State, ACC conference champions, Power 5 conference champions, being left out for 2 one-loss conference championship teams. And I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say, well, they're not the same without their quarterback. And Nah, fuck all that bullshit. Because last time I checked, Alabama's had several games this year that they played like ass cheeks. They lost to Texas, so they have a loss. Florida State didn't have a fucking loss. You say, well, that was Alabama playing a tough non-conference opponent. And what do they do with their other non-conference games? Give me a fucking break. Alabama ain't doing that shit. They'll give you 1 quality non-conference games, and the rest of it's a bunch of Chattanooga and Citadel type of shit. Meanwhile, Florida State schedules 2 SEC opponents, neither of them at home, one on a neutral site where they beat LSU, and then they play in the Swamp, and they beat Florida with their backup / third string quarterback. To which a lot of people will say, well, it wasn't exactly an impressive performance. I'm sorry. What was impressive about Alabama needing a 4th and goal conversion from the 31 to beat a scrub-ass Auburn team that had just gotten fucking embarrassed and boat raced by New Mexico State the week before? Same Alabama that was struggling against LSU before they knocked Jaden Daniels out. Same Alabama that struggled against Texas A&M. Same Alabama that struggled against Arkansas. Same Alabama that when they played their fucking backup quarterback against South Florida, they struggled. It reminds me of that internet meme. Rick Ross shirtless, it's fat ass, put a shirt on. Lizzo without a shirt with all of her blubber flowing out. It's so empowering. That's exactly what it is. When Alabama plays a backup quarterback, it's empowering. When somebody else finds a way to continue to win games with their backup or third string quarterback, it's you fucking suck, you don't merit it. Nah, fuck that. Fuck all of that. Like, you didn't even have to do this. It's like intentionally setting it up so you could piss people off. It's just stupid. Like, even if you had a 16 playoff, you could have totally avoided this. You could have had Florida State at 5 at that point. Who gives a fuck? Because at least they're in. And then you have, Georgia at 6. Fine. Then you've got, matchups of Texas versus Georgia and Alabama versus Florida State. Hell, the committee could sit there and say, hey, we got another game with Alabama and we're giving them a cupcake against Florida State. This whole notion of, well, you don't want to have blowouts and you got to take into consideration, Oh, Fuck all that. So many of these teams go into the playoffs and get boat raced anyways. Now, granted, it probably won't matter because Alabama will go out and bash in Michigan's brains. And then we're looking at Texas or Washington taking on Alabama for the national championship. But this was bullshit. Just flat out bullshit. You could see it coming. You could. Like, I thought maybe Florida State would still have a shot and maybe they would leave Texas out. But isn't Texas going to the SEC or where the fuck are they going? You know what? It doesn't even matter at this point. Because college football more and more is getting to be really stupid and ridiculous. And it's a good reminder of why I really only pay attention when it comes to draft prospects for the NFL. Because you're losing rivalries. You're basically going to have a couple of massive conferences and to hell with everybody else. You got the transfer portal. You got these coaches that show no fucking loyalty. Like, I could go on and on and on. And at the end of the day, compared to the NFL, it is an inferior product to watch. There's no question about that. And now they're going to expand the playoff. Fuck all this shit. Like, it's just stupid. Florida State got absolutely hosed, period. The whole, well, they weren't one of the 4 best teams. You know, at some point in time, you've got to earn it. And Florida State didn't lose at all this year. Alabama did. But it is a powerful reminder, and I think a really good metaphor for life. Florida State and Alabama. Florida State did everything that could be asked of them. They put SEC teams on their non-conference schedule, didn't play them at home. They went undefeated. They won their conference championship. Yet Alabama made some mistakes, had some rough performances, but because they play in the SEC and you've got clear network, media, NCAA motivations to get Alabama in the fucking playoff, they get in, and that's fucking life. It sucks because life isn't fair, no matter how much you try and spin it. Florida State got fucked, plain and simple. It didn't have to be like this, but of course, because the NCAA is run by a bunch of tards, it ended up being this way. Whatever.